Hello everyone, and welcome to another tutorial. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different because usually I'm working with Debian and all the Linux stuff, so today I wanted to scratch a little bit of Windows Server because we have the newest edition 2022. At least when at the moment when I'm making this video, and it's 2023 right now. So this is the newest edition of Windows Server that is out. I have downloaded the evaluation. As you can see, I have here server evaluation x64 English ISO. So I have prepared myself a VirtualBox virtual machine with this Windows Server, and we're gonna follow everything from the beginning, so like you would actually install your Windows Server from the scratch. I'm gonna show how you should actually install the server, what you should try to turn off on the server, and if you of course want, you can also follow some guidelines of mine, how you can actually turn off some unwanted things that you will need to, of course, have some research done by yourself on the internet or just by looking up your own server, because it's not that easy that you can just turn off everything and it won't cause any damage. Okay, so maybe let's start with the virtual machine, because my virtual machine has 8 gigs of RAM only. I can turn off this. What do we have here? This is of course the ISO that is loaded. This is my hard drive. It has like 100 gigs. It should be enough. The net for now. I'm not changing to bridge. I'm gonna change after the install is done. And I think that's it for now. Okay, let's start it up. Having the evaluation version means that you also will be able to only use it for like 180 days, unless you can find some internet tricks to, of course, make it work for a longer period of times. Time and format, well, I'm gonna change it just for now. Right, I'm gonna push install. So and we're gonna choose the desktop and experience. Yes, of course we can go to custom. You can if you have a bigger drive, you can split it up here. You can leave some space on another drive for, let's say, like maybe a backups or something. Of course, if you have an external drive like Synology drive or something else, you can always add it to your domain and do the backups there. I'm just gonna leave it on default because I'm not gonna split 100 gigs because it's not that much either way. So I'm gonna pause the video for now, and I'm gonna unpause it when the installation is done. And we're gonna restart now. Of course, I'm not gonna press anything because the CD is still there, or the ISO is still there, the virtual CD. Okay, so of course we need to choose the password. And there we go. Okay, let's go to the settings. I'm gonna eject the CD because it's not needed anymore. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna actually insert all the required things for VirtualBox. This addition. So Alt Control Delete. Thanks to that, we can now put our password on. And there we go. Discovering the network. First time server starts. Our dashboard of Server Manager. Okay, first of all, we need to fix this resolution, of course. So let's see. These are the guest additions. Gonna install them. And we're gonna reboot everything. Okay, let's check. And there we go. Okay, we can work with that. So we have our server manager and the dashboard, and we can start gradually to configure everything now. So first of all, let's go to configuration, and let's start with computer name. So we're gonna go here, gonna change the computer name. For now we are in a work group. We don't have a domain controller, so no domain for now. We're gonna get there. Let's call it just gonna call it like this. and I'm not gonna restart now. Next, Microsoft the Defender firewall. Okay, let's go here. For now, I'm just gonna turn everything off. Okay, what do we have? So, of course, after changing your computer name, of course, if it goes to the Microsoft Defender firewall, well, it's up to you if you want to actually disable it. You can leave it on, you can disable it, it's up to you. But you need to set a static IP address, of course, here. We go to properties, we go to TCP/IP IPv4, and we're gonna set that up. So for DNSs, I'm gonna choose the Google DNSs. Of course, you will input your own DNS servers here. Gonna use Google ones. And let's see, let's open CMD. So command prompt. I'm gonna use ipconfig. And now we need to change. I'm gonna go here to the settings, of course. And I'm gonna change this to bridge adapter. Yes, and I'm gonna do ipconfig renew. I'm gonna renew the lease. And here's my IP address and my gateway. So I'm gonna use those things to configure it. And there we go. Now we have a static IP address of the server. Now let's turn off IPv6. And we're gonna refresh the server. And now we have only one static IP address configured for our server. Here's the operating system version. It's of course standard evaluation. Okay, next thing what we have, last installed updates, never. Well, that's bad. We need to take care of this. Windows update, download updates only using Windows updates. Okay. Okay, now we go to Defender antivirus. I'm gonna disable all of this stuff. Okay. AE enhanced security configuration. I'm gonna turn that off as well. Now we can go to manage server manager properties. So do not start server manager automatically at logon. I'm gonna choose a yes because I don't want it to start automatically at logon. Okay, of course, updates. So we need to go to those updates. We need to check for updates because that's very important. The thing about updates is you need to really be careful with what kind of updates you want to install on Windows Server, because sometimes I have the policy of turning off automatic updates on Windows, especially Windows Server. Windows 10, Windows 11, doesn't matter. If it even chokes on some kind of update, you can always roll back, you can always do something. But if you have a domain controller and it chokes after some kind of update that was set automatic, you didn't have even time to study the update, see it, what it is, why it is there, and it just downloaded, restarted the machine, and there you have a problem. You come in the morning to work and then nothing works because the server restarts every minute because it has a fatal error because of the update, and you have 1 minute to roll back, and well, lots of stress, lots of unnecessary stress, to be honest. So my recommendation, turn off automatic updates in your Windows servers. Leave them manual. Choose what kind of updates you want to install. It's better like that, and I think it's less stressful. If you want to set that up, first of all, we need to go to command prompt. We're gonna go to sconfig, which is actually responsible for, it's a tool that configurates your server manager. So welcome to Windows Server 2022 Standard Evaluation Configuration. And there you go, you have the whole configuration here. So we get update settings, number 5. So let's choose number 5. And we have current update configuration is download only, and I'm gonna change it to manual. So I'm gonna choose M, manual, yes. Press enter to continue, yes. Of course, you can set other things here, as you can see, remote desktop, date and time, telemetry settings. Required, well, they are required here. Let's check number 10, telemetry. Change telemetry settings. Okay, when telemetry is configured, the operating system will periodically collect and upload statistical information about your system to Microsoft. Change telemetry settings, yes. Available telemetry settings off, required optional. I'm gonna choose number 1 off. Well, I don't want to send my statistics to Microsoft, to be honest. If you wish to send it, that's fine. I don't have any problem with it. Personally, I don't think I would like to do it. Okay, so we're turning that off. And for now, well, we're gonna choose number 15, so exit the command line, because I'm not gonna configure anything more. So, okay, we configured this option. Now what we need to do, we're gonna need to go to gpedit, MSC, and from here we'll need to configure also some things regarding our updates. So we're gonna choose computer configuration, administrative templates, Windows components, and we need to find, of course, Windows updates. And here in Windows updates, what we will need to find, the option called no auto restart with logged on users for scheduled automatic updates installation, and we're gonna enable this. Okay, gonna choose this. If the status is set to enable, automatic updates will not restart a computer automatically during a scheduled installation if a user is logged into the computer. Instead, automatic updates will notify the user to restart the computer. Okay. So that's what we're gonna actually choose right now. Okay, so we have enabled this option, which is pretty handy. Another option that we'll need to enable, uh, let's see. turn off auto restart for updates during active hours. So we're gonna choose that. We're gonna do enable. We're gonna change from 8 to 11. And what do we have here? If you enable this policy, the PC will not automatically restart after updates during active hours. The PC will attempt to restart outside of active hours. Okay, so if we have a domain controller, we won't have any like surprise attempts of restart. That it's gonna just restart on its own during our work hours when we have like people logged in and stuff, and there is a lot of things going on, and we, let's say, have a SUS working on our updates because we have SUS configured on our Windows servers. So okay, let's apply. Okay, so we have enabled those two options, and we will disable one option which is called configure automatic updates. So I'm gonna disable this option. Okay, so I think if it goes to our updates, that's all for now. I will of course need to wait before all of this downloads and installs, so I will just pause the video and unpause everything when it's done. Then we're gonna restart the server after all of those changes, but before, of course, changing and restarting anything, I just wanted to go to time zone once again, because I of course need to set my own time zone, which is very important if you want to run a domain controller, of course. So I'm gonna change to my own time zone. And I think that's it for now. Okay, let's see what do we have here. Remote management, time service. Time service, we're gonna see if this actually appears once again. See if that stuff appears once again. So maybe I will just go to control panel for a moment. And actually I like to always have stuff like this handy. Let's check firewall, Windows firewall, and it's disabled. That's fine. Advanced settings, that's fine. What I also wanted to check is network configuration, sharing center, advanced options, turning off the file printing and sharing, because I don't need that on here on the server as well. We're gonna take care of all of those events and the event logs after the update finishes and the restart will be available. Well, it's almost finishing here. Well, let's also check our telemetry, because to be honest, I used the sconfig to disable it, but let's just check. So we're gonna go to GPedit-MSc once again. Computer configuration, administrative templates, Windows components, and application compatibility. And let's see. Application telemetry disabled. I'm gonna disable this as well. Okay. All right. So let's see what do we have here. That's almost done. Well, what's the next thing we could actually check? Well, we have quite a lot of different services that we could actually disable on our server that they don't need to be running, to be honest. Of course, this is a thing that is very touchy, to be honest, here. So just bear in mind, if you would like to disable some services on your server, first read about them, what they actually do, and if you need to disable them, or if you want to disable them, because people sometimes disable a lot of services, and then after starting to configure the server and install different things, they start to have different kind of issues with the event logs, screaming all the time that something is not working properly. So there's a lot of hocus pocus on the internet, people giving advices, disable this, disable that. If you want to follow my guideline to disable some services that I'm gonna show you right now, you can follow it, but before you do it, please make sure that those services are actually not required on your server and you won't use them for anything. So okay, so let's go to those services. I'm just gonna create a plain text editor note. Okay, I can eject this. This is not needed anymore. We're gonna go to view, we're gonna go to file extensions, so I can then change it, because we're gonna make a reg file out of this. Registry, so we are gonna edit the registry here, so bear in mind. And I have prepared registry script here with the services. So this is how it looks. So disabling various services which have no real use on Windows Server as per Microsoft document here. So this is the document created by Microsoft about those services and this security guidelines for disabling system services. So these are apparently services that you can disable on your Windows server. You should, of course, check those services yourself. There are some Xbox services, of course, broker maps, sensor data services, wallet services, shell access, sensor service. So quite a lot of them. So after that, I'm gonna just save it, and I'm gonna rename this. I'm gonna call it disable. I'm gonna change this to reg file, so a registry file. And there we go. So with this one reg file, I will disable all the services that are mentioned in this document. So all the keys have been added successfully to the registry. Okay. We can of course check if that's true. We can go to regedit. And we can just open this. And let's just take one of those services. Let's say this one. And what do we have here? It's supposed to be added it's supposed to add start dword, and it's supposed to be set on 4. So let's see. We have start reg dword and it's set on 4. Worked. Okay, so of course in this video I will also include this reg file if you would like to. So you can just copy paste it and use it for your own advantage if you will consider turning off all of those services. Well, still waiting for the last download here to finish. Okay, so we have disabled now some services. What we can do next, we can also disable TLS 1.0 and TLS 1.1. So to do it, we'll need to run a command prompt. I'm gonna run it as administrator, and we gonna now disable, or maybe to be honest, it's easier a little bit just to create another text file, and since I have all of the scripts prepared, I'm gonna just paste them here. So we're gonna be disabling TLS 1.0 and 1.1. I'm gonna save it, rename it again. This time it's gonna be a batch file. And we're gonna run it as an admin. And there we go. Now we can of course check if everything went how it should go. So let's open regedit again. Let's just check one of the paths. And there we have here disabled by default, set on 1. So as you can see here, we also had one dword that was supposed to, one reg word that was supposed to be enabled, and another reg word that was supposed to be set on 1, and it's supposed to be called disabled by default, and that's what we actually have here. So enabled set on 0, disabled by default set on 1, two reg words. So everything worked. I will also include this below the video. You can copy it if you would like to disable TLS. Well, as you can see, this is still thinking, so need to wait a little bit longer. Okay, so another thing that you can actually check upon is, of course, events. So event log. So let's go to event viewer. Gonna open the location. Like to have it by my side. I'm gonna open the event viewer. And here in the event viewer, you get, of course, Windows logs and all the other logs. So let's check maybe Windows logs, and we have system logs here, right? Here are our system logs. Only one warning here about the time service. Well, that's sometimes common that there is, and of course WinRM, so yeah, Windows Remote Manager. Time service, that's very common. So I wanted to wait, and I think I will actually wait until we restart the whole thing. Yeah, or maybe not, maybe I'm just gonna do it right now. Okay, so first things first, when you go here, of course, in your server manager, in the events, you got all the events from the event log. So let's say all of those events are not relative anymore because they are old. You can just look at the date and the time. Let's say you don't have any more like critical events happening and you still got those old events hanging around here. You cannot actually take them out anywhere and in any kind of way because there is no button here to delete them. You can refresh, you can configure event data, but there is no delete button here, so you can just refresh everything and this will be clear and you will just see the newest events if something is happening. What's the easiest way to get rid of this trash? Well, of course, the event viewer. You need to go to Windows Logs and you need to actually go to System Logs and you need to just clear the system logs. So you got clear log. It asks you if you want to clear the whole log. Get clear. You clear the logs. After that, of course, you can do the same thing to other logs. Now we can close it down. Can open up. Gonna close down the server manager. Let's open server manager. Since now my server manager won't start automatically because it was disabled here in server properties, and I will always keep here my icon so I can just click on it and have it ready. And there we go, our events are cleared. So now if after the restart, after this restart, if anything happens, if any other events will show up regarding your server, you will have them here and you will know that these are the newest events. So this is the easiest way to keep on track on relative events. No point of keeping those event logs stacked up with a high amount of logs here, because to be honest, it's always good to have some amount of logs, but let's be honest, no need of overdoing it, right? Of course, you can always go to properties here. You have the properties of the logs, you can change those properties. Do not overwrite events, clear logs manually. You can change to this, or you can go to overwrite events as needed. Oldest events first. So here we'll actually try to overwrite everything. So it's up to you how you want to keep it up. Of course, here the clear log button again. If you want to keep on top of clearing the logs, but not only the Windows logs, but all the logs that are here, you can, of course, do it with a additional script that I have also prepared. Okay, I will just reach to it. Right, so let's create another text document. So this is the script that allows you to automatically clear all the event logs from the logs. You can of course use the like another manager, Windows manager, just to uh, get the script working like every week or every few days, whichever you would like to. So this is how the script looks like. We'll save it. I'm gonna rename it. I'm gonna call it script and just bad. Of course, now we can open the event logs. Let's see hardware events. Internet Explorer, key management services, Windows PowerShell. So we have some logs here in Windows PowerShell. So now let's check it up after running the script. So it's clearing all the events. Of course, I'm gonna include this script as well in this video, so you can just copy paste it and use it if you would like to. Now let's just open Event Viewer. Let's go to those application and service logs. Windows PowerShell is cleared, as well as probably the Windows logs. Of course, yeah, the size is very small, so everything has been nicely cleaned and deleted. Okay, so as you can see, these are the things that you can do with your server after installation. Like I said, bear in mind that turning off some services can cause other different things to happen. So you need to also study this if you want to do it. My update is ready, so let's just restart the server. It's gonna update everything. And after the server is up and running again, we'll check the event logs, what they show, if they show any problems with the time synchronization, because basically that's the usual thing that happens, that it has some problems with time synchronization. So I have a little tweak for that as well, how you can solve it if you have that kind of problem. But for now, I'm just gonna pause the video and wait until it actually restarts everything. So I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, it's still working, 38% of updates. It had few things to process, because after all the registry editing and all the settings, name changes and update installs, well, it's working pretty well. We're gonna wait until it actually loads. I also noticed that after turning off some stuff, some services, my server started to run a little bit faster. It actually was turning on very fast, so I don't know. Some people might say it's just a bunch of BS, and it's not true because the services are very light and they are not causing so much damage and they are not wreaking any havoc on the server. Maybe so, maybe no. Well, that's what I actually noticed. Okay, so a little bit of cleaning up. Let's pause it for a moment until it finishes. Alright, so our server is back up. Stretch it. And this is how fast it loads. Okay, we'll check how it actually loads in a moment. Once again, I'm gonna restart it once again, log in, and we're gonna see how it actually goes. Of course, it doesn't have anything on it right now. It doesn't have a domain controller or SUS or something else like Windows updates configured for all the PCs and stuff. So, but nonetheless. Okay, let's check the server manager. We're gonna see the events. Of course, we might have some services that went down, so nothing special here. I wouldn't be surprised. If they actually went down, you just need to get them back up. Let's check. Something's here probably. Okay, start. Then go to configure. And let's check what do we have here in our fresh log. So as you can see, we have here something connected to the connected device platform service. It depends on the network connection broker service, which failed to start because of the following error. The servers cannot be started either because it was disabled or because it has no enabled device associated with it. What do we have here? VMI. Time service. Okay, so we got again the time service here. So for the time service, I wanted to show one more thing. Let's go to command prompt, pp, something like this. Okay, so this is the actual command that needs to be given here. I had the old one. The old one wasn't working because it had manual and had a space between the colon and the manual, and I didn't have the update/update. So the same goes with the name of the server. It has to be inputted here, and there is no spaces between the colon and the name of the server. Right, so this is the first thing you need to do. Next, we need to stop the service. So we're gonna do net stop time. So we're gonna stop the time. Then we're gonna do net start. And at the end, we're gonna do synchronization for our server. So we have that no time data was available. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, I'm just gonna shut down this. And we're gonna just do maybe gonna reboot the whole server. Okay. So as you can see, it restarted just immediately. And it's up immediately. So like I said, turning off those services, it's up to you. It's not a standard thing to do when you install Windows Server. It's an additional optional thing. Of course, other things like disabling TLS, disabling, of course, other things which I showed, like this telemetry, disabling automatic updates, configuring automatic updates, and those basic things that I've done to the in a server manager. All of these things you can do. They won't bring any harm to you. There you go. We have 5 services that are down. We can now put them back up. Yeah, so let's go here. We can check what do we have. Of course, still the remote manager is here. He wants some stuff. Okay, gonna run the script, gonna clear down all the logs. Okay, nice. I'm gonna shut it down. Restart the server once again. And we're gonna make a quick restart now, and we're gonna see, since this is restarting just in a blink of an eye. I think I'm typing the password longer than it actually restarts. Okay. Let's open it. Of course, those services are every time going down. So that's the first thing you can actually notice. I'm not sure if it's connected to the disabled services that I did before. I haven't checked it, so I'm just saying. And these are the newest warnings that we have in the events. So the ones that are actually, we have an error here. We have a remote manager, of course, but we don't have any time synchronization errors anymore, as you can see. So the way that I showed you was successful. So we managed to synchronize everything in our server. We got only those three errors appearing, and you can of course read about them on the internet and try to fix them. Okay, so I think I will conclude this first video regarding Windows Server 2022. If you liked my content, please like, subscribe, of course, share the content. If you feel like being a Patreon, you can always hit up my site. It's $2 it's $2 each month for the nearest lowest tier. I think it's $2. I don't remember. I need to check. Okay, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I hope all of this stuff was useful to you. Remember, services optional. If you want, use them at your own risk. I will see you in the next